Hello, world. My name is Ashley Collins, aka Beyond to Dragons. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Breakup Diaries. I got another MMA fighter for you guys. Please introduce us to yourself.
Hello, my name is Alton Edmond, and I am fighting on Saturday with Leo Code.
Wait, you're not fighting Leo, are you?
No. I'm fighting on the Leo Code card. I
Okay,
apologize. With the promotion.
okay, yeah. I was to say, wait, I thought I did my research good enough. Okay, so cliche question, I have to ask that. What got you started doing fighting?
Well, I've been interested in MMA for well over a decade. I've been watching the UFC um, since probably the early 2000s, and just been really interested in what they had going on. I have a background in wrestling, and so I saw some things that led me to believe that I could transition into it based on my background in wrestling. But for whatever reason, I never had both the time and the money to be able to compete and to really
Yeah.
train on the level that I'd want to train to compete until recently. Now I'm a business owner, and I have more flexibility in my schedule, and so I was able to get good consistent training sessions in throughout my last training camp for my last fight in June and for this training camp as well.
Cool. I forgot to ask you, how was Vegas? You just went to Vegas recently, right?
Vegas was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I did some tours of the Grand Canyon, and got to boat on the Colorado River and helicopter over the canyon down into the canyon. It
I
was a
love
little
it.
scary coming out of that canyon
Yeah.
on that copter, I'll tell you. But it was a beautiful experience, and a once in a lifetime opportunity that I was glad that I took advantage of.
Cool. So how's your diet?
My diet's been really good. I've been cutting out a lot of red meats. I've been cutting out white
Really?
rices and white pastas. I've been cutting out a lot of the cheeses, dairy, cutting out a lot of sweets. And so my diet has been really good since I started training back in March. My diet has completely changed, and my body has changed as a result. I was 260 pounds a year ago, and on Saturday I'll probably be weighing in at about 230.
What? Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. You sing?
I do sing. I've been singing since I was a little kid, about 5 years old. My mom was very involved in the church, and so as a result, I was very involved in the church.
Yeah.
And so I've been singing for a long time. And recently, most recently, I've sang at a bunch of local sporting events, sang the national anthem at local sporting events, football games, wrestling meets, basketball games. Um, and I've been invited to announce at events as well. I also do announcing. I speak for a living, so I use my voice quite a bit, um, just on a day-to-day basis.
Is there anything that you do to like keep your voice? What's the word I'm looking for? To protect your vocal cords?
Sure. Yeah. I drink a lot of water, but I only drink room
Mm.
temperature water. Cold water restricts the vocal cords, and isn't the best for you. Cold drinks at all. So I don't drink a lot of chilled
Um,
drinks. Period.
um,
I don't smoke. Never been a smoker. Um, and I don't do a lot of yelling or screaming. Those things put strain on the vocal cords as well. And so, the loudest that you will hear me be would be when I'm laughing or if I'm, performing.
that's awesome. Okay. What have you been specifically focusing on leading up to this event this Saturday, training wise?
Training wise, I think the areas that have been the major focus have been cardio, um, as well as my kickboxing, my striking. Because as I
Hmm.
said, I have a background in grappling um, that goes back to 2003. Um, but in terms of the striking, I'm relatively new to striking. And cardio. I want my cardio to be tip top as well. I'm fighting a much bigger opponent. I anticipate, or at least the information I have is that my opponent is going to be weighing in around 260. So he's going to outweigh me by maybe 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And so my cardio, my quickness, those are things that have been a big focus for my training camp.
True. What is Edmond Inspiration?
Edmond Inspiration is a motivational speaking company that I own and operate. Through that company, I have given motivational speeches to high school and middle school, as well as elementary school students all around the state of Florida. Um, I, I grew up very poor, and I came from a area that many people would consider the ghetto or the hood. And it was important to me when I was able to give back and inspire young people to go far and live their dreams, really.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's really beautiful. You're also you do a lot. When do you sleep? You do because you're also a professor.
Sleep is for the weak. I'll sleep when I die. Yes.
Because you're also a professor, right?
Yeah, I'm a professor at Eastern Florida State College.
What do you teach?
I teach two courses right now. I teach criminal law and criminal procedure. Because as you can see from my title, Esquire, I'm an attorney, and one of my primary areas of practice is criminal defense. And so because I'm a specialist in the area, I teach criminal law and criminal procedure to students. And many of my students are people that aspire to be law enforcement officers and that aspire to be attorneys. And so it's great to help them to get a solid foundation for their future legal careers.
Dope. I'm gonna ask that last. So with Halloween coming up, we don't really dress up as adults anymore. So let's go back in memory lane. What was your favorite costume growing up?
Well, the crazy thing is that I'm a goofball, and anyone that knows me knows that I like to have a lot of fun and laugh. So I still do dress up for Halloween for my students and for the kids that I mentor. And actually, last year, I had two Halloween costumes. I was a Pharaoh, and I was also Michael Jackson. And I
No, you
think
weren't.
that I was. There are pictures. You can find them if you look for them. You have to look hard, though. But I think Michael Jackson was probably the most fun for me because I was almost unrecognizable. And so there were some people that had no idea who I was when I was in that costume.
That's so fun. Okay, so let's say that we're in Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that universe, are you a hero or are you a villain?
Definitely a hero. Definitely a hero. I dedicate my life to helping people and being an advocate for people.
Awesome. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a group of influencers who are trying to create their own UFC in order to get away from Dana White. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't see an issue with that. I think business is a beautiful thing, and I think more people should be building businesses. I don't have anything personal against Dana White. He has some different views than I have. But at the end of the day, I support people doing good business and pursuing their dreams. And I think that, if there are some people that want to create the next big combat sports organization, I'm in full support of it. And if they provide high quality action, then I'll be tuning in too.
Because competition is good in business, right?
Indeed it is. There have been, recently a lot of complaints from different UFC fighters. I mean, that is the go-to brand. It's a brand that I followed since the very beginning. And there have been a lot of complaints lately from different people, Francis Ngannou, John Jones, and some others about the pay, especially when you compare it to boxing and what boxers make. And if I were being completely honest, I've done some limited boxing training here and there. But from the boxing training that I've done and from the MMA training that I've done, it takes far fewer skills to be an elite boxer than it takes to be an elite MMA fighter. You have uh, to be elite at MMA, you have to be a good boxer. You have to
Mhm.
potentially be a good wrestler, potentially be a good executor or defender of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu techniques. You have to be able to not just punch, but be able to kick and to be able to defend those kicks as well as submissions. And so there's a lot more skill and a lot more diverse skill set required to be an MMA fighter. But because MMA is relatively new, and some of those things have to do with the promotion itself. The pay is not comparable when it probably should be, seeing that UFC is mixed martial arts in general are much more dangerous, and you have a lot less protection from knees and elbows that professional fighters might encounter.
So it's because I've been thinking about pondering this a lot lately. Why did I say ponder? I can say think. But you know how like the UFC nights where you go to like to your local bar and like they charge you extra to get inside the bar. Like they don't do that for the NFL network.
Right.
Because like the NFL players already like they're set in their pockets. But like these fighters, like they don't have protective gear. You know what I'm saying? Like it just seems so, for lack of better phrasing, unfair.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I would say that it is. I mean, but on the other hand, it's an art and a style that these fighters chose as well. So you have a
Yeah.
balance. You have a very dangerous sport, but you also have people that assume the risk. I'm
Yeah.
fighting amateur. I don't get paid a dime to go in there and fight. And if I get hurt, I have to pay for it out of my pocket and my insurance. And so,
Yeah.
those are things that people should be mindful of going in. I know that I put a lot of thought and effort into the decision, and I took some time to train and prepare for my first fight, and I just never stopped training. So after my fight in June, since between March and now, there have been 3 weeks in that, what, seven and a half, 8 month time frame. There have been 3 weeks that I did not train since March. I've been constantly training since I started, and I think that some people step into the octagon and don't really take it seriously, and train once a week or once a month and aren't really consistent. Um, those people put themselves at a much higher risk of injury, and so I think it's something that people should really think about before they just jump into it,
Mm,
considering how dangerous it is and the little protection that you have.
true, true, true. All right. So where can we like you, stalk you, follow you, all that fun stuff?
You can follow me on Facebook, Alton Edmond. I'm easy to find. You can find me on Instagram, same
Oh,
handle, my
yes,
full name, Alton Edmond, on both Facebook and Instagram. Um, you can find me on TikTok. I am
what?
Singing Attorney, Sanging Attorney, on TikTok. And I do a lot of stuff on TikTok. Yeah, comedy, singing. You'll see some MMA stuff, some wrestling stuff. I mix it up, so it's very eclectic. So if you're looking for one thing, then that's probably not the channel for you. You can also follow me on YouTube, uh, Edmond Inspiration on YouTube, and I have a lot of motivational speaking material. There isn't a lot of recent material, but I have, I think, over 30 videos of motivational speeches that I've done. But because of COVID and whatnot, I haven't really been in the school speaking as much in the last year or
Mhm.
so, so I don't have a lot of newer material as a result.
Yeah, true, true. All right. Two questions and I'm gonna let you go.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Um, the popular Bruce Lee quote, you have to know how to flow like water. How do you think that relates to your fighting style?
It relates really well to my fighting style, and just fighting in general. I'm much more comfortable when I can flow from one thing to the next thing. when I can flow from punches to kicks, when I can flow from kicks to punch, when I can flow from striking to grappling and wrestling, I'm much more effective. I've seen that in the 3 training camps I've had, because I had a second fight that I was supposed to fight in September that got canceled. I had 2 opponents back out. And so I've seen it in my 3 training camps. When I flow from one thing to the other seamlessly, I'm much more effective and I'm much more dangerous. And so having a good flow is going to be important. And setting a good pace is something that I definitely plan to do on Saturday.
Because water can be dangerous.
You better believe it can be. Water can destroy and has destroyed entire cities.
Yeah.
And so the healing and restorative properties of water are certainly contrast starkly to the destructive power that it wields as well.
That's wow. That was good, man.
Thank you.
Okay, last question, then I'll let you go. What would you say to your future beautiful wife?
Whew. About fighting? I would tell her that she doesn't have to worry about this, because when I'm married and I have children, I think I'm going to stop competing. I will continue to train to stay in shape. But right now I don't have any children. I'm not in a relationship. I'm not married.
You're a unicorn.
What do you mean?
Because everyone has like 1 or 5 kids.
Yeah, 1 or 5. Nah. It's important for me to wait until I'm married, to bring children into a 2-parent and healthy household, and so I'm waiting and taking my time until then. But I think what I would tell my future wife is that this MMA stuff, she wouldn't have to worry about this, because I think family needs to be a priority, and I wouldn't want to do anything to put myself at risk so that I can't be available to my family. And so this is something that I'm doing for me, and that I really wanted to pursue for a long time. But when the family comes, the competition is most likely going to stop.
You're amazing, Alton.
Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. And so are you. Look at that smile.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching, and we hope to see you this Saturday. All right, make sure you get there early.